Hello everyone, in this video, I will show you about iPhone 14 Pro Max in 2023. Please subscribe to my channel to get more video. In earlier years, Apple has frequently separated the Pro Max from the Pro via additional features, perhaps more brilliant cameras or better adjustment features. That is not the case this time around. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is an iPhone 14 Pro with a battery that endures a lot of time longer and a greater screen that is better for gaming. I'd say it's the main iPhone to suggest on the off chance that you're after a huge display, but with the appearance of the more reasonable iPhone 14 or more. That is not really the situation. Screen and design. The huge 6.7 inches display is a delight. Dynamic Island utilizes the indent. Square-shaped design can feel awkward. There are two fundamental motivations to stout for the Max: rendition of the iPhone 14 Pro over the standard 14 Pro, and the first of those reasons is the screen. While the iPhone 14 Pro has an unobtrusive 6.1 inches OLED display, the Max has a far bigger 6.7 inches display. A greater display is, as I would see it, much better on the off chance that you utilize your phone a ton for gaming, content creation, or utilization. Network programs from Netflix or Disney, particularly those delivered in HDR, look staggering on the spacious material, and there's a lot more space to feel drenched in with games. Obviously, a greater screen implies a greater phone, and here's where the iPhone 14 Pro Max tumbles down a bit. The square-shaped, made-right design suits the more modest phone much better. Here it can make the 14 Pro Max somewhat awkward, with the sharp edges diving into my palms. A gentler case will handily fix this, however it merits considering. Would it be a good idea for you wish to utilize the phone with no additional protection? The iPhone 14 Pro Max, similar to the 12 and 13 Pro Max before it, remains nearly gem-like in its design approach. The exceptionally cleaned, treated steel sides sparkle in the daylight, while the scope of three tones, alongside an extremely bombastic gold, are quieted and classy. I for one favor the better time conceals you'd find on the iPhone 14 line. However, the decisions here, particularly the new profound purple, do emit a more professional vibe. The greatest visual change this time around is the new Dynamic Island. This got a ton of stage time during the phone's declaration. And dodgy name to the side, it seems like a proper step in the right direction for the mock score. On the off chance that we don't see a sprinkling of Android phones with a comparable component in 2023, I will be extremely shocked. Dynamic Island takes the score that has been available since the iPhone X, isolates it from the top bezel, and adds a cunning programming around it to transform it into another little intuitive region, while as yet concealing the variety of front cameras and Face ID sensors. Generally, the Dynamic Island is a step in the right direction. Having music control or clock alarms available in any application is perfect, and the expansion of live exercises in iOS 16.1 extends the usefulness to outsider applications. In a year or somewhere in the vicinity, I think we'll truly begin to see the advantages of the change. The remainder of the screen is similarly as splendid. The greatest update is in splendor, both in HDR utilization and when you're outside on bright days. This is the most splendid screen I have utilized outside, with it effectively fighting direct beams. I dig more into the display in my iPhone 14 Pro audit, however it truly marks every one of the crates. The smooth, versatile 120Hz ProMotion display ramps all over, relying upon what you're doing, and it makes all that from looking all over a site page to gaming feel a lot smoother than on the 60Hz iPhone 14. Apple has permitted the screen to drop to 1 Hz for the 14 Pro series, empowering a consistently on choice that keeps the screen generally noticeable in an obscured state. While some Android phones do this by just featuring specific pieces of the display, generally the clock, the iPhone 14 Pro Max dials the entire screen back with the goal that it simply invigorates 1 time per second. Camera. The very same camera game plan as the iPhone 14 Pro. 48 megapixel fundamental sensor, improved selfie camera. Telephoto zoom still not so solid as the opposition from Samsung. The iPhone 14 Pro Max matches the camera spec of the more modest Pro, so you're not getting any advantages by plumping for the greater, more costly choice. As I referenced in the audit of that phone, this is right up there with the Pixel 7 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra as the best camera phone you can purchase. The iPhone 14 Pro Max denotes whenever Apple first has gone past a 12 megapixel sensor on a phone, supplanting it with a totally new 48 megapixel variant. Generally, you'll in any case be producing 12 megapixel pictures, as it utilizes the pixel binning strategy Android phones like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra use. This consolidates 4 pixels into 1 in the sensor, giving you a compelling bigger pixel size, without bringing about gigantic picture sizes. The iPhone has for quite some time been superb at light shooting, and that doesn't change here. Put a shot taken with the 13 Pro Max close to one from the 14 Pro Max, and the distinctions are negligible until you zoom in. However, the thing that matters is far more noteworthy in the event that you're coming from a more seasoned gadget. There are no progressions to the 12MP telephoto camera, and keeping in mind that the zoom is comparable to phones that don't use a periscope game plan, it doesn't verge on rivaling the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Once you push past the 3x territory, Apple has added another 2x zoom choice, which uses the center 12 megapixels from the 48 megapixel to edit in. Performance. The A16 Bionic chipset is a fabulous entertainer. 6GB RAM, up to 1TB storage. No SIM opening in the USA. One of the additional astounding parts of the iPhone 14 territory is the evacuation of the SIM space in the USA, compelling clients to change to eSIM. It seems like all significant transporters are upheld, and the process of changing from an actual card to a virtual one is clear. Inside the phone is the A16 Bionic chipset, one more genuinely expedient piece of Apple silicon. It is matched with 6GB RAM, and storage choices going from 128GB to 1TB. If shooting a great deal of crude photographs and ProRes video will be on your plan for the day, you'll need to pick one of the greater storage assortments. Performance is incredible, very much like iPhones have been for a really long time. There are no conspicuous true advantages of the new chip I could see in my ordinary use, yet the attention on the brain learning centers will keep artificial intelligence components of the product quick for the following several years. It's a fabulous decision for gaming, particularly with the abundance of titles accessible on Apple Arcade and the phenomenal GPU performance. Battery life. No charger included. MagSafe and wired charging choices, charging velocities and perseverance like 13 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro Max probably won't be the best new iPhone for battery life. That honor goes to the iPhone 14 or more, yet it's a phone that will go all the way and serenely outperforms Android phones. I utilized the iPhone 13 Pro Max decidedly for various months after delivery, and I adored how long it would endure between charges. I would frequently have 30% left following a bustling day, and there were various occasions where I could go 2 more slow days without going after the charger. Having involved the iPhone 14 Pro Max for 10 days, the battery life is comparable, however not exactly comparable to the 13 Pro, basically with the display generally on. Impair the element and the battery can match that of its ancestor. Finally, thanks for watching this video. See you again next time.